Ladies and gentlemen, back again. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another edition of the Robbie Basel Show. Yes, I'm in my dorm room. It's late, and I'm sorry that this video is coming out as late as it is. Should be about 8 or 9 o'clock, but we got a video coming out, and that's the main thing. First of all, before we start today's video, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button down below. And also shout out to everybody real quick who tuned into the streams again this weekend. Another great weekend of streams. I know I've put a lot of work in. I know a lot of the boys helped put the work in with me. I know I've been doing a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. I got a couple of shout outs for that, which shout out to all the boys. I know there's been a couple of things going on behind the scenes with some of the guys. And yeah, it's been a very interesting ride. 3 months into Give 'Em Five Media or so now. I've been here for around 3 months, yeah, which absolute 2 or 3 months now, which is honestly insane. But yeah, continuing the love for you guys, the viewers. We gained over 15 subs this weekend, around 15 subscribers this weekend. So big shout out to everyone who's helped over there. Live streams will continue. AFC and NFC Championship should be happening this week. And possibly more sports coming in the coming weeks. So make sure you check out the Give 'Em Five Instagram, along with my Instagram, rbasel11, link in description. Handle is in the description. Um, and like I said, make sure you pay attention to all the videos I'm in. So that would be Footy Fridays for more updates. There's a good chance that baseball's in March. Hockey, basketball, possibly soccer are the rumored sports to possibly start up soon. But listen, we don't know. Nothing's confirmed yet. I'm just bringing up some possible ideas to the table. I know all the guys are putting in the work and trying to figure out the best strategy for the brand going forward. Um, but yeah, it's been a very interesting first couple of months. I know there's been behind the scenes and with some other people a lot of disagreements, but here we are, unified still at the end of the day, and we continue to push forward as under one name. Give 'Em Five Media. After they started out as Across the River as just one podcast, and then all the boys joined the brand, and yeah, it's been a very interesting ride so far for sure. Um, but yeah, more news to come on Friday about future shows. Hopefully, we have some more news on that in the coming days. So let's go over the big rundown for today. We're not going to go into as many in depth as much as you may have would like, but we have so much to talk about. Also, apologies for no Footy Fridays video on Friday. Throat wasn't feeling it. I'm still not feeling it today, but I know for you guys need a video out to run you through the weird stuff going on. Uh, Also, for those who wrote me in the DMs about it, no, I am not talking about the Coupe de France. Shout out to the four semi-pro clubs that are in the round of 16, the Coupe de France. They deserve a shout out. I know someone asked me about that yesterday. But let's actually go over what we're talking about today. Champions League, first day of the Champions League. Champions League is back with 2 match days to go. We'll go over that. The Premier League continues moving on, and a couple very odd results from the weekend. We'll go over those. The Australian Open is flying. We're down to the latter rounds of the tournament as a whole. We'll go through what to watch out for in the final couple of days. Two big MLB free agency moves. Roki Sasaki and Anthony Santander have signed contracts. Where do they go? What does it mean for those teams? And who are the big free agents remaining? The NFL playoffs are also down to the final four. Who are those four teams, and what can we expect from Championship Sunday? But we begin with the College Football Playoff National Championship from last night, and I was on the call last night. So let's go through this game. What I liked and what I didn't like. Obviously, there was a lot I did not like from that game, from both teams. You know, too many struggles throughout the contest. But let's go through the game bit by bit, and let's highlight the good things before I absolutely rip into some of these teams. So who are our teams? Ohio State and Notre Dame played in the College Football Playoff National Championship last night. And we were on stream to cover that. And myself, Matt Welling, put on a show last night. You guys showed out with the views, of course, as well, like you guys always do for these big-time games. And The one thing that immediately caught my eye was the length of drives. If in the first half, if you were paying attention, Notre Dame opened the game, just for reference, with a drive that almost went 10 minutes. Ohio State then had three drives of about 4 minutes or so, and Notre Dame was not able to respond after that first drive for a while because going into the second half, after that first drive, they had sub 20 yards of offense, and Riley Leonard did not look comfortable. The running game was not great after the first drive, and they just kept stalling. And that's the one thing that ruined Notre Dame's chances early on, and that's why they're down 21-7 early. Will Howard was putting on a show. Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in the backfield were playing great. Jeremiah Smith caught an early touchdown. And in the stab of a finger, it's 21-7 and going into the break. Howard almost perfect in the first half. He had one incompletion. It was 14 of 15 for 144. And then the second half began. And Notre Dame goes down, I believe it was 31-7. And within the middle of the third quarter, and I said it, this game's still not done yet. Because Notre Dame, if you learned from Georgia, if you learned from the Indiana game, and really during the Penn State game, they're resilient and they could score in bunches. And guess what they did in that fourth quarter? They were resilient. They did not allow really any points, and they scored in bunches. They did not allow, after the midway point of the third, any points, Notre Dame, until the end when Fielding kicked that second field goal to make it 34 to what eventually would be 34-23. And well, let me give my thoughts on this game real quick from my perspective. The Irish, Fighting Irish, gotta give them their credit. They showed a ton of resiliency, as I mentioned. But there were certain moments where you questioned what they were trying to do. Um, I mean, you had the days. You had the leading receiver in the game was Greyhouse. Was Greathouse with over 125 receiving yards and two touchdowns. Riley Leonard had more passing yards than Will Howard. But what was the key that didn't help Notre Dame in the end? Decision making down the stretch. If you remember, Notre Dame missed a key field goal in the red zone that they really should not even attempted a field goal on. If Notre Dame goes for that, I mean, and for example, don't get it, they're in the same spot. But they didn't even give themselves a chance in that drive to go out there and get 7 points. They converted at least one fourth down on that drive. They get fourth down again at the 7 yard line. They decide to kick the field goal, and Mitch Jeter misses it off the left post. It doesn't make some of the decision making. I know Marcus Freeman's young. It's his first national championship. But Marcus Freeman proved during the run to the college football playoff national championship that his decision making is one of the best, if not top two, in the nation in that playoff out of everyone there. And it didn't really show up unless you call timeouts. Calling timeouts really helps there. His calling of timeouts has been phenomenal. But it just doesn't make sense, the strategy of going to kick that field goal, trying to still be down within one or two scores. Because they missed it. Ohio State really weren't able to capitalize. But if they go for and get a touchdown there, this game is completely different. Notre Dame went for a fake punt, which I thought was smart. They really caught everyone off guard. But they weren't able to convert. And that's the main theme from Notre Dame in this game. Is failed opportunities, and that's the light way I can put it, because they had chance after chance in certain moments to move the ball and respond to Ohio State early on. They just didn't keep themselves in it enough. Yeah, they stayed in it by the skin of their teeth, but they were down 31-7, and usually in national championship games, you don't see teams come back from that. It was a phenomenal effort, though, from Notre Dame, and for the end of the career of Riley Leonard, who got hurt at Duke against Notre Dame, lost to Northern Illinois in his second career start as a Fighting Irish player, able to win out up until a national championship. And he played all right in the national championship. He threw for over 180 yards in the second half, I believe is what it was. Around 180 yards in the second half. But yeah, it just was not enough for Will Howard and company, who, yes, he did not have a great second half, but he didn't really need to after your team goes 31-7 up. Granted, yes, he could have looked better late on. But that's just nitpicking. He helped with over 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and was able to help lead his team. I'll be part of the reason that this team won. But let's go over to Ohio State. Let's go one more Notre Dame note. I know Notre Dame fans are going to come up with excuses of injuries, and yes, they have missed a lot of starters on defense. And you need to give Notre Dame a little bit more credit that despite having all those injuries, they were able to be as successful as they were. I mean, you're missing a star corner in Benjamin Morrison. They're missing multiple players in the defensive front and other parts of the defense as well. So it was a painful end for Notre Dame. I mean, they were down 24, able to come back and fall just short. So good season from the Irish, but they come up just one game short in the end. Now let's go to Ohio State, which gotta give them their flowers. I mean, remember when we went into the playoff and we were like, Ryan Day a lot of people questioned Ryan Day and his legitimacy to keep it going, to win those big games and get his offense going and do what they need to do. And Ohio State were able to prove that narrative wrong against Tennessee, against number one Oregon, against Texas, and they were able to hold on to beat Notre Dame. And the most impressive win, other than Oregon, was Texas. And remember, Ohio State struggled, but were able to find a win in the end. And I said it. Ohio State are the more talented team, and they should find a way to come out with this in the end. And guess what they do? They deserve to win this game. I don't think there's any dispute of that. They outplayed Notre Dame for about 50 of the 60 minutes. But in that latter third of the contest, especially early middle of the fourth quarter, Ohio State was getting completely outplayed. And that was a moment when we were on the broadcast, we were like, this is getting a little nerve-wracking. And Notre Dame were able to cut it to 8, but again, Ohio State at the end of a game made a play that matters, and it was a deep ball to Jeremiah Smith down the sideline that was caught on 3rd and long to ice the game. Incredible play call by Chip Kelly, who was getting a lot of scrutiny in that fourth quarter, in that second half, for lack of aggressiveness. And they're able to ice the game on that one play. And Jeremiah Smith, who I mentioned it before the national championship, had one catch for 3 yards against Texas, goes for 5 for 88 and a touchdown in a win over Notre Dame. So he was able to shine, but more importantly, Quinshon Judkins, who had 3 total touchdowns himself. I thought it should have been player. Would have been our player of the game if we named one. Was Quinshon Judkins. Had a receiving touchdown, had 2 rushing touchdowns. He put on a show and was really able to help lead this Ohio State Buckeyes team for their first national championship in a little over a decade. Remember back in the inaugural who won the inaugural playoff? Does everyone know who won the inaugural playoff? It was Ohio State who won the inaugural playoff a little over a decade ago. They win the national championship to open up the playoff era. And Ohio State are able to win the national championship to open up the 12-team playoff era. They're the lowest seeded team to ever win a national championship. And here's the question. I asked this a month ago. Yes, no, 12-team playoff. Let's give a rating. I think it's fair, chat. I'm gonna give a rating out of 10. 1 being crap, 10 being the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm gonna give it a 7. You know, I thought the first round was atrocious. I think going to 8 teams is the best way to do it. But with what they're going for, and I hate to say this, I would prefer 8, but 12 kind of works. Kind of. Don't put words in my mouth here, chat. 12 kind of works. Because you get your fair amount of conference champions, but I think that teams that win the bye need to be changed. I do. And could this benefit the Power 4? Yeah. but it'll still be the five highest ranked conference champions automatically get in. And I think that still is right because you need a group of five conference champion from whoever the hell it is, whether it be the Mountain West, whether it be the Sun Belt, whoever it might be, the American, I don't know. You need a team like that in the playoff. So I think right now, 12 kind of works. If they make it bigger, that's dumb because 12 kind of works. Let me say it one more time. 12 kind of works. So there you go. College football is done. Take your breather, ladies and gentlemen. College football is done, and we were able to witness the first national championship of a new era, not only of the 12 team playoff, but in give them five media history as well. And it was a great college football season, ups and downs galore. Um, you know, dramatics from the beginning to the end. The first big game of the year was Notre Dame against Texas A&M, and Notre Dame were able to find a way to win, but they cannot win the concluding contest of 2024-2025 college football. And as of now, we will be saying so long college football for the next around 7 months, which kind of sucks. But listen, you got to get ready for another, uh, the next season of sports. And it's very exciting with spring coming up, either the back end of the fall, the winter seasons of basketball, of hockey. We have this NFL playoffs wrapping up in a couple of weeks. So Ohio State, for the first time in over a decade, are national champions. And they deserve all the flowers that they get. But let's go to the NFL playoffs, sticking with football. We won't take as long with this one because it's pretty self-explanatory. Just for reference, we went 3 for 4 on picks last week. We absolutely nailed the AFC. The Chiefs, whether you like it or not, whether they got bailed by the refs or not, they kind of did. They were able to find a way to beat the Houston Texans. Now, for the Houston Texans, they deserve a lot of credit because they stayed in that game way longer than they should have. And they're able to hold on to the Chiefs defense for an impressive amount of time. And that's what worries me about Kansas City because they were able to get shut down for so long by the Texans. They're going up against a stronger defense in the Buffalo Bills, who, yes, got sliced up by Lamar Jackson in the second half, but they're a better defense than Houston is. So it'll be very interesting to see. The one question I got after the game in my messages was how critical am I of Patrick Mahomes? I don't like Pat Mahomes. Diving for first downs, yes, the giving himself up play was dumb as well because it's an automatic penalty from the way it looks. It's lame. I agree with that. I mean, Pat Mahomes is turning into Neymar Jr. a little bit. Like, for those who know Neymar Jr., I can't put a video because we'll get demonetized or copyrighted or whatever term you want to use. But Neymar is the one known for flopping. That's all you need to know. And Pat Mahomes put on a flop show going towards the sideline, tried to dive his way for a first down. Um, and the Chiefs got away with a couple of those plays. I mean, there's a roughing the passer that shouldn't have been a roughing a passer. A face mask that shouldn't have been a face mask. Um, we have some breaking news. We'll go over that in a second. As we continue, and the Chiefs were able to find a way to win, but they were not. It was not at all impressive. They forced a couple of mistakes on Stroud, and he just could not find a way to respond. And in the end, Pat Mahomes and this Kansas City Chiefs offense, who had I believe, under 250 yards, not just a tick over 210 yards. Do not turn the ball over, play worse than the Texans, and lose. How does that make any sense? Guess what, chat? The refs. The Chiefs did not deserve to win that game for the majority of it, but the more experienced team did win, and they'll be going up against the fan favorite that's alive still in the Buffalo Bills, who played in by far the game of the weekend with the most dramatic ending that you could possibly come up with. We start off with a Rashad Bateman touchdown that led to a Ray Davis response. Josh Allen ran in two more touchdowns. And it was 21-10 at the half. And I said at a halftime that I'm a little bit worried for how the rest of this game can go. But the Ravens were able to respond, get a touchdown and a field goal to go down 21-19. Because remember, on the one of the yeah, no, so it was 21-19 because they went for it on two and they did not get it. Tyler Bass kicks two field goals, and late in this game, the Ravens are down 27-19 on the final drive, full drive of the game. And Lamar Jackson hesitated, was patient, and found a touchdown to Isaiah Likely, and we all know what happens next. The 2-point conversion is dropped by Mark Andrews, his second crucial mistake of the game. He had a fumble earlier, which turned into one of the field goals, and then that moment right there. I mean, how many more opportunities is Lamar even going to get? I think though, for the Ravens, Lamar's like, we got to clean that up. We deserve. I mean, the Ravens deserve to be in the conference championship. They did. They did. Erase a turnover and they're in. That's the way I'll word it. They had more yards, more first downs. The only thing the Bills had was time of possession because the Bills were more strategic in that game, were able to kill off more clock, whether it be through Ty Johnson or James Cook or whoever else you wanted to be. But Josh Allen, who's an MVP candidate, I'll be honest, got completely outmatched in the passing game. He looked terrible. Only 127 yards from a quarterback who's going to be an MVP candidate is not what you were hoping for. Lamar Jackson, who had that dumb fumble and dumb interception, was still able to throw for over 250 yards and rush for a good amount as well. Derrick Henry had a touchdown himself. And it's just these critical mental errors from Jackson, from Andrews that loses them this game. It's the mental errors, the little things that lose the Ravens this game. And I don't know how much longer of a leash we will give them because we know the Bengals will be back next year. We know the Steelers will probably make the playoffs again next season. And if the Browns can find a way to rebuild or do whatever, I don't even know what the Browns are doing at this point. They could be back as well, not now, but in like a couple of years. It's starting to get frustrating. Yes, the Ravens were without Zay Flowers. And yes, he probably would have made a difference in this game. But the things you need to see from the Ravens going forward, and I'll bring this up now. You need the Ravens to secure a defense that doesn't get like 65 penalties a game. That was the key for them. Too many stupid penalties. It looked like the Ohio State secondary with Igbenuson and Ransom getting 50 penalties. That's what it was. I'm sorry to bring up Lathan Ransom. That's the only other player in that secondary I can think of. It's unbelievable. And the Bills, who weren't penalized, are able to go out there and finish off this game. The next game we need to go over is the Eagles and the Rams. The similar story to the national championship. I'll run through this one real quick because this video is taking too long already. Eagles, who should have won this game way earlier. Rams kept themselves in it somehow, and the Eagles went out and won this game. Jalen Hurts did not look impressive, and Saquon Barkley carried, kind of like I expected. So the Eagles were able to beat the Los Angeles Rams. They are facing the Washington Commanders, who put up 45 on the Detroit Lions, and the Commanders are advancing to their first NFC championship in 30 years, over 30 years. So we have our conference championships, Bills Chiefs, which I got correct, and Eagles Commanders, which I got partially correct. From the get-go, which is pretty cool. I got 3 out of the 4 teams, which for me isn't bad. We know how bad I've been with predictions recently. If you know this show, I know sometimes I've been really bad on predictions. But today we nailed it. Oh, we're almost nailed it. We got 3 for 4. So let's preview the games. Actually, no, we're gonna preview the games on Friday. So make sure you check out Footy Fridays. Friday will be the preview of those games because we need to keep moving. We got a lot more topics to talk about, including some breaking news on this show, and we've officially received a list of Hall of Famers for 2025. And let's go through the list right now, ladies and gentlemen, for you this evening. So the players in the Hall of Fame, I'm just trying to find the list. If someone has it for me. But let's go through the Hall of Famers for 2025 in baseball. And the players going to the Hall of Fame include Ichiro Suzuki, who got it almost unanimously. He'll be joined by CC Sabathia, who I'm a little surprised that he got that many votes. I didn't think it'd be that high that fast. And a player who I thought really deserved it in Billy Wagner, the left-handed closer, who got 82% of the vote. The player that just fell short was Carlos Beltran. He got 70.3. By the way, Ichiro got 99.7. Sabathia got 86.8. We had Andrew Jones at 66, and then a big drop off to Chase Utley, who somehow got more votes than Alex Rodriguez, which is very odd. King Felix got 20, Andy Pettit 27, Manny Ramirez 34. Shout out David Reifert only getting 8%. He got less, by the way, than Jimmy Rollins, so take that how you will. But Beltran was on just 70.3% of ballots, shy of the 75% threshold for election. But yeah, really cool moment there for all three of them. But PD associated players on the ballot didn't make much headway in the balloting, with A-Rod and Manny Ramirez not getting either of them over 37%. The three award winners will join Dick Allen and Dave Parker, who are going to Cooperstown on July 27th. Cool moment because I got to watch Ichiro in person for a little bit. I know we all know him for his stint with the Mariners, then going to the Yankees, going to the Marlins, and then back to the Mariners. Really cool. One of the best Japanese players of all time. I don't know if he'll end up being the best that we've ever seen, but Ichiro Suzuki, star outfielder. He used to be able to run, hit, do it all. He's a true five-tool player, and for the time he was in Major League Baseball, it's always cool to see. He got 3,000 hits, of course. CC Sabathia, left-handed starter, started off with Cleveland, but was mostly known for... Actually, no, he did not start. Did he start with Cleveland? Hold on. Or was it with the Brewers? I don't even remember, Chat. I don't remember this. He started off with Cleveland. Yeah, I was right. He started with Cleveland, went to Milwaukee, and then everyone knows him for his 10-year stint, I believe a 10 or 11-year stint with the New York Yankees from 2009 to 2019, posting up really rock-solid career numbers. Let's take a look at them right here. 3.74 career ERA, whip at 1.26, over 3,000 career strikeouts, a dominant pitcher and a good leader. Left a southpaw, 6'6", played 561 games, the native of California, a former first-round pick, was really, really rock solid, and joins the Hall of Fame, like I said, at 86% of the vote. And then Billy Wagner, the left-handed closer, I forgot how long he was on the ballot for. He was on the ballot for a minute, Chat. But he was there for a while, and he does make it to the MLB Hall of Fame. Most notably known for his time with the Houston Astros in the beginning of his career from 1995 to 2003. Went to Philly, then the Mets, went to multiple teams, then went back to the Mets, Boston, and then finished his career in 2010. Never had an ERA other than 2000. He did not have a season with an ERA above 3. His most notable season, I don't even know what you would call his most notable season. He had multiple seasons with a ERA under 2. He's one of the most dominant closers in MLB history. A career ERA, even with an ERA 1 year of 6 at 2.3. So really dominant. He had 422 career saves in 903 career innings pitched, striking out. Are you ready for this, Chat? Over almost 1,200 batters as a closer, which is very impressive. So those three men are going to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I agree with all three of them. They make perfect sense. CC Sabathia is the one that surprised me the most. If I had to pick any of the three that surprised me, but Sabathia, I think did deserve it. I just didn't think he'd get more votes than Wagner. I thought the last one was going to be CC. If there's other than I thought the next one would have been Andrew Jones, the former Atlanta Brave. I thought was going to be higher than Beltran, um, but Beltron still getting 70% of the vote, just being that close to making it to the MLB Hall of Fame, but it is three players in 2025 of Sabathia, Wagner, and most notably Ichiro Suzuki. I don't know who the hell did not put him on the ballot, but there you go. There you go. So we had multiple Hall of Famers make it. Well, new Hall of Famers that'll be inducted in late July, but we do have some MLB free agency news that we're gonna run through you guys with right now. And it's two big signings. Starting off, Roki Sasaki did make his decision last week, and he's going to the Los Angeles Dodgers. We knew this was going to happen. I think everyone and their mother knew this was going to happen. So just to run you through how significant this is, well, one, they now have a rotation of all aces. Just to run you through how stupid this is, they open with Shohei Ohtani, who's like gonna not pitch like half the season. It feels like he'll still throw gas and throw and hit nukes. You have Sasaki, as mentioned, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is disgusting. Tyler Glasnow, who was hurt, and then Blake Snell, or whoever the hell you want to put there. Stone, uh, Dustin May. I don't know who the hell am I missing. I'm missing someone because I know they lost Bueller to the Red Sox, but big deal there with Roki Sasaki, disgusting right-handed pitcher, is able to join the most dominant starting pitching staff I've ever seen, or one of the most dominant pitching staffs I've ever seen with my own two eyeballs. Um, but Sasaki throws gas, has disgusting movement as well, is really going to be able to help elevate the Dodgers rotation. I don't know where they put him. I think middle back end of rotation would make more sense because he's never pitched in the States before, in the major leagues, obviously. But big move there from the Dodgers. This next guy I thought they were going to get before Sasaki, but they did not get him. It's Anthony Santander, who's going to the Blue Jays. Are we sure that's right? Yes, the Blue Jays. That I did not expect. Anthony Santander, who spent all of his career so far that we know of, that's most notable, with the Baltimore Orioles, playing right field, was part of those teams that were absolute crap. We all know those teams. If you know anything about the Baltimore Orioles, you know those teams. Let's actually look at these numbers from Santander because I was actually intrigued by this. Um, when we were looking at this. By the way, he's getting a 5-year deal, 92.5 million, which is honestly less than I thought he was gonna get. But he spent all of his career so far with the Baltimore Orioles, hitting 155 career home runs, driving in 435, having his most notable season this year when he hit 44 nukes and had over 100 RBIs for the first time, an OPS over 800 for the second time in his career. Only other season was 2020, and you can count that or not count that. I don't care. But he now joins a divisional rival who needed an outfielder. I know they had a lot of young guys out in the outfield. In Toronto, of course, they also have George Springer, but a piece that can maybe help revitalize that outfield core with a 5-year long-term deal with Anthony Santander. A very interesting move from a Blue Jays team that we didn't know what route they were going to go long-term. Were they going to go rebuild, trade Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette? Or are they going to find a way to re-sign both of them and add to the team? They've kind of taken a middle ground and they've added something, but it's not a lot. And I'm a little disappointed. I continue to be disappointed in the Blue Jays because there's a good chance next season that Vlad Guerrero leaves to whoever he wants, Dodgers, and does whatever. But I think now with the Blue Jays actually doing something, this could, in the short term, rule out I believe, a trade for of Vlad Guerrero for now. For now. Don't massacre me. I say for now. For now. Relax, chat. For now. I think it could happen still. That's not off the cards at all. But for now, yes. for now. For now. And then the remaining star free agents. The two most notable ones left. Let's take a look at the MLB free agents remaining. And there's two, of course, that we need to target. It's Pete Alonso, and it's Alex Bregman. We also have uh, Jack Flaherty, who's really surprising. He hasn't signed yet. I think he should go to the Braves. Uh, and cannot believe I'm saying this guy next in this sentence. Jurickson Profar, who is rumored to like every team at this point. Uh, but let's go through this move. So we know the the Tigers were rumored with Alex Bregman, but they're at a standstill right now. So the Tigers don't have a deal for Bregman. For now, I think the Tigers could still get Alex Bregman. Uh, I mean, there hasn't really been anything other than that, but it's been a slow start. We know um, the Astros, I don't think they're going to be able to re-sign Bregman, which is really sad. Honestly, I thought he would stay in Houston, but I think he's going to get a bag somewhere. And from the looks of it, it could be from the Tigers. I would think the Yankees have to stay in this, but I don't know how much more they have in the tank in terms of signing free agents. Weird wild card for this, I thought was going to be the Phillies. Um, Alec Bohm sucks. I don't know who they play at third, so I think that could have been a wild card move of randomly going out and getting Alex Bregman, though I don't think they're in him for him at all, which understandable, by the way. But let's go through this situation. Um, Bregman, who is ranked as a top five free agent entering free agency, the Tigers are the one club that have been connected to him, but talks are reportedly at a standstill. Um, he was projected to get a major deal, but right now, Houston. The look from the rumors, Houston is linked to trading for Nolan Arenado, who surprisingly also has not been dealt yet, which kind of signals the idea that he won't be traded as of right now. So it's a very weird situation with him, with Nolan Arenado. But right now, the Bregman talks have gone nowhere. I think the Tigers do find a way to get him, but and by the way, if the Tigers do get him, I think they will splurge for Jack Flaherty. If they can find a way to get Flaherty back for more than half the season, that'd be a win for them. Because remember, the Tigers made the playoffs, and the Central still sucks. So if the Tigers find a way to make back the 1-2 punch of Skubal and Flaherty, that's phenomenal work by the Tigers. I don't know if they do it. I don't think they do it, but I think it's still possible that they can get both Flaherty and because I believe Jack Flaherty is still in the market, right? See, this is I have not paid attention. This is like the first time in my life where MLB free agency has been irrelevant. But I know he's not linked to the Dodgers anymore. Um, I know. Uh, so yeah, some Jack Flaherty. First of all, shout out Jack Flaherty for flaming people on Twitter. Um, let's read this quote. I just want to read this tweet because it's actually pretty funny. Um, and he's so not wrong, which this kind of makes me feel like does. It's either I think for him it's either the Tigers, the Dodgers, or somehow the Braves. Uh, but this is what Jack Flaherty wrote. A certain team is not ruining baseball. A lot of other teams are just doing very little. Bold words, my friend, but I respect the hell out of this because at the end of the day, he's kind of not wrong, but it's also that the Dodgers have a ton of leverage because they just have money and they just won a World Series. But regardless, we're not going to go into that. Um, by the way, my predictions for the rest of the way. Han Sung Kim, I think, goes back to either the Padres or I think he goes to the Giants, pairs up with his fellow friend, I believe his friend Jung Ho Lee, who I know would be interesting to have both two of the better players from Asia on the roster. with Ha-Sung Kim and Jung Ho Lee, two contact mainly hitters. Pete Alonso's the only one remaining, and I'll be honest with everyone, I don't think he goes back to the Mets. It's his best fit. It would be incredible, but I don't know. I really don't know. Because right now, Scott Boras is kind of ruining Alonso's value, and it could lead to potential catastrophe. Mainly for Pete. I mean, you would have thought he would have signed by now with somebody. I mean, I think a fun option for him would be the Rangers, but let's go over this. Pete Alonso. We know the Mets aren't bluffing in this. They're not falling for anything. And Pete Alonso's trying to make a bag. He has Scott Boras as his agent, yada, yada, yada. But they're asking for a lot. And it's like unbelievably a lot. And it's kind of insane. Um, and right now we don't know if Alonso's staying, if he's going. Part of me does feel like he's done with the Mets, but part of me feels like he still has more to prove. He's 30 years old. I think he's going to now get a similar year amount that Santander got, but he's going to get the per year that he wants. I think he's going to get I think he's going to get 5 years, 125 from the Mets. I think that has to happen. Does feel like a slight overpay, but he needs to sign a contract. Spring training, chat, is in less than a month. It's like 3 weeks or so. It's when camp opens. He needs to sign somewhere. It's getting late for a lot of the players, and it's just a very weird spot to be in. But MLB free agency might start to heat up as the back end of free agency rolls on. But let's go through real quick the Australian Open, because we do have some dramatics in the Australian Open. Quick shout out Novak Djokovic continuing to prove people wrong, because that's just what he does. We do have one unseeded player left, but let's go through some of my favorite results from at all in the tournament. We're going to start from the weekend's results, and that's where we'll start from. Ben Shelton, shout out Ben Shelton. He's in the next, just won recently. Was able to beat Lorenzo Musetti. Tommy Paul has walked over everyone, but he did not do that last night. Holger Rune, Sinner all won on Saturday. Sunday, it was Sinner getting his revenge over Holger Rune. Djokovic, Zverev, Alcaraz, and Sonego all won. Then Zverev last night destroyed Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul in the second set was, I think, 5-4, 5-3 up, gets broken. I mean, they went to tiebreaker, and Zverev had two tiebreakers early on in the match and outscored Tommy Paul in the tiebreakers 14-1. Unbelievable. Zverev didn't try in the third, but then he walked over him in the fourth. And Zverev goes to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals rather. De Minaur defeated Mickelson after, shout out to this guy Alex Mickelson, who I've never heard of before, and he opened the tournament by upsetting Tsitsipas, Kachanov, and then got absolutely boat raced by De Minaur. But shout out Alex Mickelson. I don't know if that'll be the last time we hear of him or not. That's for sure. And then early this morning, we had Novak Djokovic against Carlos Alcaraz, and it went to the way of the Joker after Alcaraz won the first set, drops the next three, and then Novak is going back to the semifinals. He will play on Thursday against Sasha Zverev, which we'll go over that matchup, what to watch out for in a moment. The other semifinal will be the winner of Ben Shelton and Lorenzo Sonego and Yannick Sinner and Alex De Minaur. What a fun quarterfinals we still have on tap for the Australian Open on the men's side. Now, I think Shelton and Yannick Sinner should win, but Alex De Minaur is the sleeper out of the real sleepers left to win the whole thing. Now, he didn't really play anybody early on, and he's played, I believe, the least amount of sets in the whole tournament out of the guys remaining. I know Ben Shelton's definitely not that on that list. He just beat Mickelson, as we talked about. His only player he's faced that's ranked was Cerundolo back on Friday the 17th, and he did beat Cerundolo after dropping the opening set, by the way. And I think that's still possible. I think Yannick wins in four, but watch out for Demonor, the big lefty from Australia. He will have the home crowd behind him tonight, 3:30, I believe 3:30 a.m. Yep, 3:30 a.m. Eastern. Last night we had the Novak match go into early in the into New York time. I know they had into like 7 a.m. or so, so that is possible that if you wake up early, you could see the end, maybe of Yannick Sinner facing off against Demonor. But I think Shelton wins. I think that'll be convincing. Shelton, who's been great on serve all tournament, facing Sonigo, who has had a lot to prove, has proven a lot, and is one of the two Italians remaining in the whole tournament. I think Shelton though does end the run from Sonigo, but you got to give Sonigo his credit. He got all the way up to the quarterfinals. Renzo Sonigo. Let's go through his run as well. Though for Sonigo, he has not played a ranked player yet. He faced Tien, who upset. Who did he? Who did Lerner Tien upset? Medvedev. Yeah, he was the guy who upset that had that five setter on Thursday over Medvedev, which awesome match by the way. I think Shelton's big server. I think this is where he'll take the cake, and that would set up a semifinals based on my predictions of Yannick Sinner against Ben Shelton and Sasha Zverev against Novak. This is where experience matters. I think our final will be Novak and Yannick, which I think. Do we think the Joker has one more in him? Yeah, I'm gonna give it my predictions. My predicted winner will be a guy who did not win a major last season. Give me the Joker, Novak Djokovic, as out of the seventh seed to win the Australian Open. I think he beats Sasha. Sasha struggled in big moments against great players. And I think he would have gotten absolutely boat raced by Alcaraz. So at least that match will be interesting. But in the other match, I think Yannick Sinner and Shelton put on a show. Shelton loves his hard courts, so that's like something to definitely watch out for. Ben Shelton loves the hard court. And we saw that back at the U.S. Open a couple years ago. We saw that in the U.S. Open last year. We saw that in the Australian Open last year. I think this is where Shelton's run ends. I think he loses in the semifinals. I predict to Yannick Sinner. And then Yannick loses in a thriller to Novak. And I predict the Joker to win another title. Now, on the women's side, we'll go from Saturday. Badosa, Goff, Sabalenka, Maddie Keys, who beat Danielle Collins. And Danielle Collins is hilarious. She was like the demon, like the enemy of the Australians, the villain of the week, the first two of the 2 week tournament. The ton of antics I thought was hilarious, but she did lose to Madison Keys. Paolini lost way earlier. Actually, no, I called this. I forgot. I called this in the video last week. Paolini losing to the Ukrainian Svitolina. We saw Haddad Maya lose to Kudermetova. Akuna Matata. I almost said Akuna Matata again because I said that to my friends. It Pavulenchikova nailed it. Beat Donovekic. I made Badosa go through. Sunday, we had Svitolina and Madison Keys go through with Rybakina from Kazakhstan going out. Monday, we had Emma Navarro over Kazakhina. Iga losing one game the whole match and walking through leash. And then Paula Badosa upsetting Coco Gauff. And for Badosa, she forced Coco Gauff into a ton of mistakes. And Gauff had a lot of unforced errors as well. But that sets up, after Sabalenka's win, two quarterfinals tonight. One is about to go in action. Both of them will be in action when this video goes live. It will be Maddie Keys against Svitolina and Emma Navarro against Iga Swiatek. My predictions, I'm going to go with Madison Keys in a 3-set thriller over Svitolina. I think that match will be really fun. Madison Keys, who I believe is a former U.S. Open champion and is a U.S. Open semifinalist, loves the hard court as well. Another American who loves the hard court is Madison Keys. I think she beats Svitolina in a 3-set thriller. And then I'm going to go with Iga Swiatek. Iga Swiatek loves these big-time moments. She's the number 2 seed for a reason. She's had a very weird road path to this. because I don't think she's played absolutely anybody. I mean, her hardest match by far was on paper was Emma Raducanu. She's lost. Okay, after her first round scare against Sinikova, she's lost 4 games the whole tournament. Four, four. She's won 36. Three-set thriller again with Navarro, but I think Iga Swiatek goes through to the women's semifinals, which would be Sabalenka Badosa, which I think Badosa could cause a lot of problems for Sabalenka. If Sabalenka plays like, I mean, if Badosa forces Sabalenka to a ton of unforced errors, I think Sabalenka's done for. Um, but if we look at the latch match from um, Sabalenka, she went to 3 sets against Pavlyuchkova, and I think she loses. I think Badosa goes to a major final, and I think she'll lose eventually to Iga Swiatek. I think Iga Swiatek is going to win this championship. I think whoever wins Iga versus Madison Keys wins the tournament. If they go to a semifinal, whoever wins that bottom part of the draw, that bottom draw match, bottom draw semifinal is going to be absolute chaos. Whoever it is, all 4 seeded players, all of them really talented and all have the capabilities of winning the whole thing. I think this is where Iga Swiatek continues her dominance. I think it'll be Iga Swiatek who wins the Women's Australian Open, beating Madison Keys in the semifinals after her quarterfinal win projected tonight against Emma Navarro. Goes for the double against the Americans, and I think she beats Paula Badosa in the final. Continuing the motive, we'll just run through the Premier League because we have this video is taking forever. We did have a long break earlier, so that's understandable. Um, just running through the scores, we're gonna go more in depth with this on Friday. The only notable upsets, Arsenal dropped points to Villa again in a big part of the season. So Villa kills Arsenal on a 2-all draw. Nottingham Forest survive a scare against Southampton. I guess Southampton really don't want to win. Chelsea beat Wolves yesterday. Understandable. I mean, Chelsea is better than Wolves. Wolves are selling Mateus Cunha. I know Arsenal are linked to him. Very odd moves over there. Brighton beat United, obviously. Tottenham lost to Everton. Very weird moment over there. And yeah, Liverpool beat Brentford. But more importantly, Manchester City have gone on a rampage recently. And what do I mean by a rampage, Robbie? Well, it started last week and with Erling Haaland, who we all love and hate, the robot from Norway. And he signed a 9.5 year contract extension. 9.5 years. That's like we've never seen. That's the longest contract in Premier League history. The longest contract, I believe, was Nicholas Jackson, and now it is Erling Haaland. They followed that by signing the best striker, I believe, in the Bundesliga from not named Bayern, and that is Omar Marmoush, the Egyptian striker, who they signed to essentially be what Julian Alvarez was when he was at Manchester City, which pissed me off because Omar Marmoush went for the trophies because Eintracht Frankfurt are winning absolutely nothing. So Frankfurt sell their best player, uh, which opens the door for like whoever else to make top. I don't even know where they are in the Bundesliga. Where are Frankfurt in the Bundesliga? Aren't they in like fifth or something? Like I know Eintracht Frankfurt were like not terrible. Eintracht Frankfurt are third. What are they doing? Might have just lost a Champions League spot because they just sold their best striker. And to not only mention that, Man City are putting on a clinic in the transfer window. They're signing so many different players. They signed a player, I believe, on where was that guy from? Was it Kazakhstan or something? Which I think is absolutely sick. I rock with that for sure. Let's go through the players. I know they signed a lot. Let's go through the players they've signed. They have signed oh no, it's Uzbekistan. Abdukir Kusanov. Nailed it. I definitely got that wrong. 40 million from Lens. Omar Marmoush for 70 million, over 70 million. And then we have Victor Reyes from Palmeiras, 35 million euros for the Palmeiras player, which signals to me that they're not going to get any in trouble at all for FFP, which sucks, obviously. But they're going out, they're being aggressive. I know they're in on Andrea Cambiasso, which is a phenomenal fit for them. Um, but they're going full send, full commitment. Gotta respect it. Because Man City is not in a Champions League spot right now. I know they're playing in the Champions League, but for next season, their Champions League qualification is not safe at all. I mean, they just did win 6-0 against Ipswich. Fun. Um, but real quick, as we take a look at the Premier League table, Liverpool are 6 points ahead. They're net 9 points ahead because they have a match at hand on everybody. Nottingham Forest are still back to being tied with Arsenal. Chelsea are fourth. Then City and Newcastle are tied for fifth. Bournemouth are 1 point behind Man City again, and are 3 points out of a Champions League spot. Yes, Bournemouth are 1 point out of a Champions League spot. Um, and Bournemouth get to play a classic matchup against Nottingham Forest, which I thought that would be like a relegation battle matchup, but no, it's for a Champions League spot. Who would have told you that one? I certainly would not have said that. Then Villa, Brighton, and Fulham round out the top 10. The biggest story right now, not in the top 10, is with Tottenham because Tottenham's a disaster. They're 15th. And yes, they're 8 points out of a relegation place, and they're not getting relegated. But like, how are they 50? I know. I mean, they have Dragusin at center back, so that's understandable. But yeah, they've been battered with injuries, and Ange's safe. And Ange's job is safe for now. More on that on Friday. Let's go to the Champions League, the matches that we actually care about. Barcelona. We start with this. Barcelona saved themselves. They were losing to Benfica 4-3, a 9-goal thriller in freaking Portugal, in Lisbon, um, with goals late by Garcia, and then a 96th minute winner by Rafinha, which shouldn't have even counted because Benfica should have been awarded a penalty. I'm still not over this. Benfica should have been awarded a penalty. They don't call anything. Guy gets taken down in the box. It was completely obvious. Barca go on the counter. Benfica decides not to defend again because this game had zero defense. And from Rafinha won the match. That's all you need to know. Barca won. That's all that needs to be said. Other matchups to care about in match day 7. Liverpool survived the scare against Lille. Juventus drew again. I don't think they've won a game in like forever. That's a great question, actually. Juventus. When was the last time they won a actual competent match? That's a great question. I know they just won against Milan over the weekend, but draw. Prior to that win against Milan, they haven't won. They didn't win all year. That's I think their fifth draw of the year, fourth draw of the year, of the calendar year already. And they played Napoli on Saturday, so a little bit worry moment for Juventus. They drew Club Brugge out of Belgium, which shout out the Belgians. Um, Other matches, Atalanta won 5-0 to open the day. Shout out to Monaco. They got a big win earlier today. They beat Aston Villa 1-0, the most boring game ever. Um, any other notable results? Not really. Oh, and Dortmund lost on the road against Bologna, which kind of reignites their chances of qualifying for the knockouts. Key matchups tomorrow. Um, Arsenal, of course, are playing Dinamo Zagreb. Real Madrid are playing Salzburg. The battle of the bottom with Celtic and Young Boys. Milan is facing Girona, what could be a trap match for Milan. If you want to talk about a trap match, we have Feyenoord against Bayern, which could be possible. I don't think it's a trap match, but I think Bayern only wins like 1 or 2-0. We have Shakhtar against Stade Brestois, Leipzig Sporting, and Sparta Praha against Inter. Game to watch, obviously, is Paris Saint-Germain. They're facing Manchester City tomorrow. This game's gonna be absolutely insane, absolute insanity. I'm thinking a draw at the Parc des Princes. Parc des Princes. There you go. That's how you say it. At least I think so. But right now, PSG, if they draw this game, if they don't get a point from this, man, PSG could be in serious trouble of being eliminated from the Champions League in an expanded Champions League with more bad teams. That's unbelievable. Like, and their last game is not a pushover. They're away to Stuttgart in Germany. Yes, the Germans are like, how even good are the Germans? How even good are they? 21st. That's not bad. 3 wins, a draw, and 3 losses. That's not bad. Paris Saint-Germain will be on the same amount of points against Stuttgart if they win. If they lose and like Celtic win, PSG is not going to be able to qualify for the next round. So it's a must-win game tomorrow for Paris Saint-Germain, and PSG are not in any good position at all. Manchester City, who also are not in a great position because Man City's 24th. The big clubs are putting up a disaster. And the final game, isn't their final game at home? Yeah, they're playing Brugge. At least it's not like they're not facing like Stuttgart away. And Stuttgart haven't been bad, but where are Bologna? Yeah, Bologna's kind of got themselves right back in it. They need City to lose though. I think it might be a little bit too late for Bologna. Um, I know a lot of people are saying a possible upset with Arsenal and Dinamo Zagreb. I just don't see it though. Arsenal are playing the backups because we're through already. So yeah, should be an interesting game, an interesting week of sports. Thank you guys so much for watching this very long video. Make sure to like and subscribe. For now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. See you guys Friday for Footy Fridays, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.